Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The host of the Mindless Midnight Show would like to welcome you to their latest episode full of late-night humor as we explore just about anything with our very special guest. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Nick and Josh.
Warning, some of the contents of this podcast may be found offensive. This podcast is not for the weak, lack of experience, and common sense, including children, unless they have been given permission.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of the Mindless Midnight Show, our first ever one that we're doing where we have a guest on to speak with us about a theme, anything, have fun, story time. It's going to be great. And today, for our debut, we are going to have Sonja on here with us. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see her at the bottom of the screen.
She has joined us from the heavens.
Yes,
She's glowing.
She has joined us from the heavens.
I lowered myself.
The lighting looks great. Well, the lighting on your end looks awesome. It's like, oh, I like that.
I had to go out and buy a lamp today for my Kia because I don't have good lighting in my house. I really don't have any lamps in my living room. So I went out to Ikea and just bought a quick lamp. Then I thought it might have been too bright, so I moved it back some.
Living in the dark.
It's perfect. It's perfect. So what we plan on getting into, we have somewhat of a theme. We're going to talk about aliens and UFOs because she actually has some stories to tell us about that. And we've been really excited to talk with her. That's definitely one of the reasons why she is our first guest here, because we've been talking about this for a while. We're making it happen. And it's going to be awesome. So, Josh, is there anything that you want to say about the lovely Sonja we have here today?
So I've known her for quite a few years. She is a friend of my wife's. They used to work with each other. That's how I met them. And one day when we added each other on Facebook, I noticed she had like all these photos of like herself at these alien conventions. And I'm like, what? And I was like, yo, she's cool. And so like I would come by, hang out and talk with them and like, hey, how's it going? So
Josh, you're such a dork.
Dude, all for it.
That's okay. I think we all are. Wonderful. No. So, Sonja, what is something in the realm of aliens that you want to start off with?
Oh, let me think.
Well, wait. We should talk a little bit more about her first.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Let's get to know you more. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from Louisiana. I moved here in December of 2003. I experienced my first hurricane in 2004 because in Louisiana, well, at least in the northern part in Monroe, you don't get hurricanes there. You get tornadoes. So it was something completely new for me moving here, experiencing a hurricane. Like I said, I have two sisters, one brother. Actually, one of my sisters lives in Texas, Nick, not too far from you. She lives in Dallas, which I think is 2 hours away from Austin, I believe.
Yeah, it's about 2-3, depending on how fast you're willing to speed.
Yeah, I was in Dallas. I was in Texas about 3 weeks ago visiting her. She actually wants me to move there, so I might consider moving there in about a year. So we'll see how it goes.
Hey, look, we'll all be there.
Yeah,
I got so many people out in Texas. I might just go myself.
Yeah, well, yeah, you definitely will.
Let's see. As far as work for the mouse, of course. And
yes.
I've been there for 17 years. I like my job. I'm back in school getting my degree in history.
Good for you.
Oh, wonderful.
That's interesting. So it's a lot of writing in there. But I like it.
I can imagine.
So
that's good.
Plan to do with after I get my degree. Not teach, because everybody assumes you want to teach. I don't want to teach. Maybe work in a museum, I think would be a good thing for me. So
yes.
I'm at it.
A museum would be much cooler than just teaching.
I agree. Well, especially because if I'm not mistaken, from people that I have talked to that are in teaching, they're saying it's getting really bad. Like it's getting like it's almost chaos trying to teach nowadays.
Well, kids just don't listen. It's like a nightmare. I went on a field trip with my nephew one time to chaperone, And them kids did not listen on that bus to that bus driver. Everything she said just completely went over their head. They did whatever they wanted. I could never be a teacher. I commend the people who do it. I couldn't do it.
I could never be a chaperone in this year either. No spanking kids. All right, well then I'm not a chaperone and nobody else.
See, this is what you do. You brandish the gun. You brandish it. You show it. Show it. And then you leave it at that. And then deny it. Just deny it. Because they're just a bunch of kids. All right.
I know kids these days have phones with them in class. They take a video, a photo of everything. You can't get away with it. Oh,
that's true. It's Photoshop, video editing.
Are you saying it's fake news? This is fake news.
Yeah.
It's fake news, dude. It's fake. Or and then the kid's like, oh yeah. Well, here's my gun. Like, okay, sorry.
Yeah. Hey, I got my dad's gun over here. Check it out.
Yeah, like.
Oh shit!
You can't really win. So yeah. So no, I guess you're smart to not do the teaching thing. Although, like, teaching is, if you are listening and you are a teacher, I applaud you, because I can't imagine how hard it is. But given the choice between working at like a museum and stuff and being a teacher, hands down, museum.
Oh yeah, I definitely pick a museum anytime over there.
Me too.
So, like, what kind of museum are you looking for? A specific exhibit? Is it going to be a UFO museum?
Oh, that could be something I could start. That could be something we could start a UFO museum.
There you go. You totally could.
We're totally down. Me and Nick just request like a little studio inside the museum that we could just record in. And we want like aliens.
I will only record in a real UFO. That's it. No. So get to work. No.
Find it.
Yeah. What period of history is most interesting to you?
That's a good question.
It is.
I like ancient Egyptian history. I like the Greek side of history, like dealing with the mythology part, like Zeus and all those types of history. That's really interesting. I like Native American history too. If you ever listen to Native American history, they have a lot of, mythology to their history. I don't want to say it's mythology, because they always talk about Sasquatch and Bigfoot and skinwalkers and stuff. So I always figure there's got to be something to those stories. It has to be, because they come from somewhere.
Do you ever see any kind of similarities amongst all the different eras and their beliefs? And
not with Native American history. Not if you're comparing it to like Egyptian history or Greek. Now with Egyptian history and Greek history, it's similarities, at least with their gods. Because you have like Venus and Aphrodite, and then Zeus and Apollo, and a lot of their gods are similar. So
that makes sense. Yeah. And then also, getting into like alien talk is, like ancient Egypt, didn't they have a bunch of like paintings and stuff? And there's like weird shit on there that's like, that's a UFO.
If you look at some of the hieroglyphs on the pyramids, it looks like some of them looks like aircrafts, like helicopters or some type of airplanes.
And not just that. I mean, they got some solid looking, like weird looking alien people. Like they got the ones with the big heads. Big eyes, like completely different from any other like humanoid that they depict. So I mean, that's not a coincidence, man.
Right?
And the fact that we still like refuse, or rather, like they say they refuse to study more so how the pyramids exactly were built, because I don't think they really know. They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They're all just guessing. They don't really know.
Or if they do, and they're definitely not telling it. I mean, we have so much technology that is like beyond a lot of people's imagination that we do have available to us.
I guarantee you the military has technology way ahead of us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you think about, crash retrievals. Like the 1947 Roswell incident, supposedly a UFO crashed in the desert. If they retrieved technology back then from 1947 from a crash disk, can you imagine where they are now on it?
God. Amazing. And this is one thing that I've thought of that I think it's cool we can talk about now. Could you imagine if the planet Earth was completely like legit world peace, and all of the world scientists from everything decided to like actually band together and make technology advance more. So somewhere in the universe there's planets that are like that.
Yeah, that's not Earth. That's utopia.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah, I exactly. That's like it's a utopia. But there's some planets that are probably centuries ahead of us.
Ahead of us, they would have to be. Because you see, there's been so many sightings of encounters and stuff, and they would have to have started like 1,000 years ahead of us to get to where they are to our planet. They would have to be way ahead of us.
Exactly. Like I'll show you guys my plasma rifle. I got it from a.
Whoa!
No, pew, pew, whoa! It's like, what the hell does Nick have in the room there? No.
We can no longer post this now to classified documents.
Yeah. Somehow one of the.
So have you guys ever encountered anything or experienced anything like a sighting or an abduction, or know anyone who has ever experienced anything?
I have been abducted like 30 times, almost once a year. No, totally not. But the only thing that I don't really have anything exciting or crazy, but there is one thing that I saw when I was in my teens. I'm 30 now, and I was like, I don't know, 15 or so, and I was skateboarding, and I would stay up really late and go out skating under the streetlights and stuff. And I remember looking up and seeing like what I thought was a satellite, right? And this is such a common story from a lot of people, but that makes me believe things, because it's like, I saw the star, but like it wasn't like a star. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a satellite. But the way it moved, and then it just went, phew, and just bolted, like gone. And it freaked me out. I was like, that was not anything that you like, the way it moved so quick, so slow, and then so fast, and it was gone. And then there was no more star, and it was just gone. It's like, that wasn't a star. That was weird. But that's literally the only thing.
Yeah, I guess I've never experienced or seen anything either that I can explain. No sightings, no encounters, no nothing, which is pretty sucky. Although at the same time, when you listen to the stories of people who've been abducted, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit frightening, because they say, like, there's this one story, Betty and Barney Hill story. I think it was 1952. Anyway, it was an interracial couple. And they were driving back from Canada. They went there for vacation. They were driving back to Maine. And I think it was like around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they saw this light in the distance. And originally they thought it was just the moon or the plane, but the light kept following them. So Barney pulled out his binoculars and he got a closer look. And he realized that it was no plane like that he had ever seen, no aircraft that he had ever seen. So they stopped the car, they got out, and they took a look at him. They realized that the craft kept coming closer, so they got frightened and they started driving again. And for some reason, they said they decided to pull off onto the side of the road. They couldn't resist. They stopped the car, they pulled off, and this craft came right above their car, almost above their car. Then they got out. And they said these beings came out of the craft, which were like 6 feet tall, bald head.
Jeez.
The typical kind of gray aliens. I don't know if you've ever seen the gray aliens with the big bulge heads, the black wraparound eyes. It was these guys. Normally the typical grays are about 4 feet, but they said these were about 6 feet tall. And they took each one of them by the arm and dragged them back onto the ship. And Barney had his eyes closed the entire time because he was terrified. Betty wasn't so much scared as he was, and she said they end up doing all these procedures on them. They separated them, and she was put on like a examination table. He was put on an examination table, and they asked him, why are they doing this? And he said they're there to study them, and they took like skin samples and hair samples. They stuck a syringe to her navel. What else? For Barney, I think they did like they took a semen sample, and then they sent them. No. Before they sent them on their way, Betty asked them where did they come from, and they told them they came from the Zeta Reticuli system, which is a double star system, so many light years away. And she asked them, could she have something to take back to prove to the world that they were abducted. And they were originally going to give her this book, but then another being came into the room and told them that she couldn't have the book then. Supposedly they tried to wipe their memories, but they ended up remembering a couple of weeks later, they had a nightmare. So then they went to a hypnotherapist and hypnotized them, and they recounted what they experienced.
Wow. That's
to kind of backtrack a little bit. The only one thing I like really had actually felt like I seen when I was much younger, me and a buddy, we were playing out in the street, and we just happened to be looking up, and it was still a little bit of daylight, not a whole lot, but still quite a bit. And we saw what looked to be like a really bright star, but it was like really far away, just really bright. And then we seen it like just going back and forth. And then at one point it just stopped and slowly dissipated away. That was the only thing that we saw that we were like, that's just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we were kids, so we didn't think a whole lot of it. I mean, we were both like, whoa, man, it's a UFO. And then we went back to playing. It wasn't anything like,
right.
Oh.
like now when you realize what that is, it impacts you, way more. Now it's interesting to me that they got a semen sample, and I can't help but wonder how.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, because obviously he wasn't aroused or anything, because he was terrified.
The most majestic, flaccid hand job.
He said that they placed some kind of instrument over his private areas, and they extracted a semen sample.
Or in secrecy, he's at the bar with his friends, and he's like, "All right, I didn't tell you guys, but I banged one of the aliens. All right,
actually,
I did. Don't tell me."
There is a story that came out about that. A Brazilian man, Anthony Bellavo, I don't know how you say his last name, but this was like in the 40s or 50s. I can't remember the exact year. So he was a farmer out and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Or anyway, he was out in his field, and this craft came down, and then they ended up bringing him on board the craft. I can't remember exactly how they brought him on board the craft. He had to been like 19 or 20.
Oh, he's ready to go.
He said they brought him on board this craft. They sprayed him with this like mist or whatever, I guess, to disinfect his body. Then they
make him look sweaty.
He said whatever they sprayed him with made him really sick to the point where he threw up. But this humanoid type female came out. She didn't look completely human, but she looked somewhat human. I guess she was like a type of hybrid. And
so they call them Nordics.
As his story goes, that they end up having sex. I guess she climbed on top and they had sex. Then when it was over, she pointed to her stomach and pointed to space. Then that was the end of it.
What?
He actually became I think he ended up becoming a lawyer after that. I think he's passed away. But he never changed his story.
Wow. Well, and it's crazy to me because the people that undergo this stuff, I mean, the majority of people don't believe it. So then if it happened to you, you would tell people and they would not believe you, so much to the point to where you're just like, fuck it, I'm not even going to tell anybody anymore. I mean,
I don't know, man. I feel like recently the last at least few years, given all the Pentagon information stuff, quite a more people have come around to the idea of, okay, we're definitely not alone. Like, honestly, the idea of like thinking that we are alone is just like the most mind-boggling thing, because if you look around, if this is like the most intelligent species you think is around this world, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like especially because, well, you know, they say that stars have planets around them, you know, and so you look up and you see a plethora of stars, and like there's planets around those stars too, and it's multiplied by millions and millions and millions and billions of stars, and then you're like, no, we're the only ones. No, there's no way.
And not just that, but like we haven't even. I think they're. I don't know if they're done with it yet, or if they're just about done with the new and improved Hubble telescope. And I can't remember the name of it, but this thing is ridiculously massive compared to the Hubble telescope.
Do you believe? Because you know those images that the telescope it goes to NASA or whoever first. They're gonna, if they capture anything in those images, they're going to alter it first before they release it to the public.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Don't release it at all.
It's the same way with the rovers they send to Mars. If they saw something on Mars, we're not going to see those images first. Not until they
alter them. Definitely
without a doubt. We'll never. Honestly, like I just genuinely hope that like I get to live to see the day that like aliens come down and say, we're wiping you guys from the interplanetary system because y'all are dumb.
What's that mean? Hey, what's that mean before you go? Hey, what's that mean?
Did you guys ever see that movie Fire in the Sky?
No.
I haven't. I was thinking Mars Attacks though.
I went to you. I know you had mentioned it to me the other day, and I went to look it up, but I don't have Netflix. I only have Prime at the moment.
Okay, so I'll tell you.
I didn't see it there. Yeah, please.
So Travis Walton, I actually met him when I went to Arizona about 3 years ago. Because I started going to this UFO conference. It's called International UFO Conference.
You met Travis Walton?
Yeah, I met him, and I took a picture with him. I think I have it on Facebook somewhere, and I got his book.
You probably just met like the alien clone of him.
No, it's him. It's him. Okay, so it's 1975. It was Travis Walton and 7 other guys. I think he made the 8th one. They're like lumberjacks or loggers or whatever, and they were in the Apache Site Grave National Forest up in Snowflake, Arizona. And so the sun was going down, and off in the distance, they saw this red light. And they thought maybe it was the sun setting or it was a forest fire, so they drove closer to it. And right when they got up on it, they saw this metallic gray disc hovering a few feet off the ground. And it was just sitting there silently. So of course, Travis gets out of the truck. He wants to go over and see it. And all the other guys are yelling to him, hey, don't get out of the truck. You're insane. You don't know what this thing is or whatever. So he gets there and he stands there and he's standing like right up underneath this thing. It's always only a few feet off. So the disc, he said it was like 2 pie plates put together, and it had like a dome on the top and a dome on the bottom. So he said it started to wobble a little bit, and it started to make this low like buzzing noise. And as he starts to move back, he's struck with this bluish white light, and it knocks him to the ground. And at this point, he's unconscious. And then all the other guys are screaming, hey, let's get out of here. So they actually take off and leave. But his brother-in-law, who was part of the crew, like, we got to go back. We have to go back. We can't leave him there. So they go back to the scene, and he's not there. Now, this dude was missing for 5 days. It's literally 5 days. So they go back to Snowflake. They get the police involved. They're like, hey, our friend was hit by a UFO or whatever. We went back to the site. He wasn't there. So then they originally thought the guys killed him. They thought he was murdered.
Oh my God.
They went back to the scene and they brought dogs and trackers or whatever. And they never found anything for 5 days. Then on the 5th day, Travis calls him from a payphone. He called his brother-in-law, and they originally thought it was a joke. So they went to the payphone booth and they actually found him in the booth. And he thought he was only gone for a day. Dude was gone for 5 days.
Wow.
But they end up passing the lie detector test and everything. And to this day, I mean, it's true.
He has no idea.
I mean, they do say.
But the rest of the story is when he gets on the craft, he wakes up on this table. He thought he was in a hospital. And he wakes up and it's all kind of foggy. He has this pounding headache. And off to the side of the table, he sees these 4 little figures, again, with the big heads, the big black wraparound eyes, and they have this orange-brown suit on. Then he starts to panic, and he's like, these aren't human. So he finds some kind of object in the room to like shoo them away because he was terrified. So they leave the room. They never say anything. They never panic. They never talk. They never say anything. So he gets up off the table. He runs down this hallway. He comes to this room with the door opens. It's like this room. It's like a big, I don't know how you, atrium. I don't know how to explain it. There's only this one chair in this room. So he's looking for all these buttons or something, or trying to figure out where he's at. And he said as he gets closer to the chair, he could see these stars pop up on the ceiling and the floor, whatever. And then behind him, another person, humanoid being, walks into the room. Now, he thought this person was human because he said it looked human. He was about 6 feet tall, blonde hair, but he had like this tight-fitting suit on and a helmet. And the person never says anything. He said the guy was like physically fat. You could just tell. But the person never says anything. And he takes Travis by the arm. Travis at this point is still thinking this guy is human. So he takes him by the arm, brings him into another room, places him on this table. And there's another female in this room who looks exactly like the guy. You could tell they're related. And then they put an oxygen mask over his face, and that's all he remembers.
Wow. That's like something out of a movie. That's crazy.
But he thinks they brought him on board to save his life, because he said if they hadn't brought him on board after he got hit by that light, he would have died. And he really thinks that's why they brought him on board.
Wow.
I mean, we have no reason to believe that they're here to harm us.
They could have already done so much if they wanted to.
Yeah, they clearly have the technology to just totally goodbye. The fact that they haven't, I mean, is there a gain for them if they do? Probably not. But regardless, I mean, given our nature, if we've seen that, I'm sure like people would be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's blow them up because we can. So, I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And I don't think that they're here to harm us. I think they're here to at least get with us in some way. I don't know if it's necessarily
I don't know. I'm part of this forum that I mentioned, and we talk about that they're probably here for like a breeding purposes, like breeding hybrids. Because
yeah,
no,
all for it.
A lot of these abductees who say they see human-looking beings on these crafts. So
wow.
But see, those human being ones that are like the 6 foot tall ones, those are what they call the Nordic species.
Yeah.
I don't remember what area they're from in the stellar system, but they're always described as very tall, very slender fit, almost always blonde, and just weird. Like the most human looking that we have encountered and classified, if you're willing to believe it, because we have about like 6 of them. Because we have the grays, which is the common, the little ones with the big eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Nordics. There's ones that are like these insectoids. They're almost.
They call them like praying mantises or whatever.
Yeah, they literally do look like praying mantises. It's kind of weird, but like really long, lanky ones. And then they have like these
reptilians.
Yeah, the reptilians, which they're definitely the bad ones. They're in our political system, and so and also the little blue feather bird ones, which are apparently the most highly intelligent species, and we've probably only seen them once because they looked at us and were like, "No hope."
I think there's another, because there's 2 types of grays. There's the small grays, which are like 4 feet, but then there's another grays that are like 6 feet. So there's
I've never heard of the 6 feet grays or any taller grays. So I mean that's news to me. That's really cool. I mean, quite honestly, dude, I would love to see any and all kind of alien, because there was
me too, absolutely.
There was a documentary. There was 2 documentaries I'd watched. One of them, The Phenomenon. That one was
really
awesome.
Good. Yeah,
so cool. And the other one was Extraordinary, the Seeding, which actually, after watching that, I have very, very weird and very strong beliefs of some very weird things that might be going on. And we will talk about that shortly, but we're going to take a very quick break here because Zoom wants to kick me out, so I need to start another one.
Come on, Zoom. Be cool, bro.
I didn't know it kicked you out after a certain amount of time.
I didn't know either. I guess it's because we have 3 instead of 2, but it's cool. We'll just start another one and we'll be right back.
Okay.
So
Be right back.
be right back, guys. And we're back. And sorry for that interruption. That was due to Zoom not liking the fact that we had 3 people instead of 2, so they want like money and only.
That's so weird.
They only give us like a 40-minute time limit. I don't know. They're weird, but we beat the system. We have multiple recordings.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, the 2 documentaries, The Phenomenon and The Extraordinary, The Seeding. So weird, like, so the seeding one is like just
It's like way out there.
like you really have to, and I mean it's so funny because like when it starts it says this isn't for everyone. If you don't believe in this kind of stuff, you could just leave now. If you're open-minded enough to believe that it's possible, stay tuned. And so I was like, yeah, of course, I believe anything is possible. But oh my God, dude, the things that they were saying, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, the one abductee, I think Geraldine, the one with the really long hair, she was talking about how she started having abductions, I think at age 3 or 4. They always start taking kids young, really
I'm not gonna lie though, that lady looked weird. She's an alien. They altered her DNA. She's already part alien, I believe, because you're talking about the blonde one, right?
No, not the blonde one, the one with the really long black hair. I know the blonde one you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, I know which one. Yeah, she seemed really sweet, like a little too sweet.
Really nice. But I know
She's an alien too.
Yeah.
Her story was they started taking her when she was about 3 or 4, and it continuously happened. She remember being brought on board the craft. She was brought into this room and put on this, again, like an examination.
She saw multiple rooms.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
On one side of the rooms, there was a bunch of kids playing with each other. Then the other side of the room, there were kids who were like unconscious in like this robot arm. And this robot arm was taking these kids and picking them up and inserting them into their rectum. And she said they were bleeding from their rectum, and it'll pick up one child, lay it down, pick up another child, and insert an implant. It was just multiple kids.
Good God.
Yeah,
Josh with the highbrow comedy.
She said they end up implanting her in her private area with an implant too. Then
oh my God.
Home on her. But it seems like these abductions are generational, because if they take your mom, then they're gonna take you, and it keeps on from generation to generation.
But he was the weird one though. On in that same documentary, they had the older lady that was all blacked out. She didn't want to be seen.
Oh yeah.
Because she, I guess, she had gotten pregnant, and then all of a sudden, baby's gone. And that same with the other lady we just talked about. So she was brought back on board, and the 2 Greys had brought a weird humanoid-looking child to her, and all she did was look away because she didn't want to stare.
Yeah.
So the Greys had taken that. Well, allegedly the Greys had taken that as okay. She doesn't want her, and then a decade later or so, like, because she felt really bad after doing that, because like she didn't do it the right way, and she said that she froze. She wasn't able to be like, wait, come back. Like that's not what I meant. This, that, or the other. Like she was frozen. So a decade later, they come back and they take her, and they bring the lady, the girl to her, who's now a little more grown.
Jeez.
And she had said like she was sorry. She got all like super emotional about it. But I was like, it's really crazy to think that like there is another species out there coming and visiting our planet and making hybrids with both our species. Like, and so one thing that, like, after we watched it, like, I had this weird, really, really weird dream one time.
Go ahead and share it, Josh.
And I've been waiting for the
Midnight
midnight
show.
show. Yeah, I've been waiting for the midnight show to drop this. So this information, because it's a little explicit. It's a little weird, but it's explicit. So I had this dream, and like, we've had our dreams episode. I've told you guys, I don't dream much, like, at all. It's very minimal, and if I do, it's usually something like post-apocalyptic, or I'm gonna die or something. But this one dream that I had was unlike any other dream I've ever had in my life, and I don't remember seeing anything around me. I was kind of like in a really dark room. The only thing I remember, it seemed like a medical chair, like a medical lounger chair, but I was sitting in like kind of like a little stool chair next to it. And in this medical chair was a female alien. And what I could really only remember seeing is as if like I could just barely see her face in the light, which I remember seeing really big eyes, and I couldn't really tell the color of the skin, but this is just so weird to say, like, out loud.
Out loud, yeah.
Yeah, like, as I know I'm approaching to say this, because I know people are gonna be like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I'm basically looking at the pussy of an alien. And I remember it being okay. So, like, you guys ever seen the movie Avatar?
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing, but I've seen it.
So, like, they have like this like pattern on their skin, kind of. Like it's like blotchy, and it looked like that. It was like really pure white in the middle, and it was still just smooth, super like baby dolphin skin smooth. Is like the texture I had remembered of like the dolphin skin, and it was just white and like pink with like a little bit of like dark pink mixed in that area. And I was eating her out, so naturally, just as I would do if I had seen a female in real life. So I woke up, and dude, I had the most weirdest feeling in my head. I felt like, and the only way I have been able to like really describe it to myself even is as if like I had little spiders inside, like not like on the top of my head, but like inside my skull, just like touching
like
my brain.
tingling.
It was a weird sensation I've never felt, but it had to do with like my head, that I was feeling all this like weird sensation. And I was like, what the fuck? So I went to the bathroom. I went and peed, and I like went back to bed, and I was just laying there for a little while, still feeling it. And I looked at the time, It was like 3:44 a.m. And I was like, okay, whatever.
And then he texts me of like, I think I've experienced I've encountered an abduction. Then he texts me the whole story, and I'm like, I don't think aliens are into that.
So okay,
out is usually just.
I don't think Josh gave them a choice.
Yeah,
He just went. He's like, all right, this is what I'm doing.
You're taking my sperm, okay? You take me aboard. You're getting it. No,
Something's gonna happen.
But the one thing, my wife, she like, I mean, it's amazing for me because like I don't have to deal with it every month, but she like doesn't have regular periods. So then like we're watching it, like she can go 3 months without a period.
Wow.
Doesn't mean nothing to us. Like it's not like she's ever pregnant or has a miscarriage or anything like that. Like just with randomly months without any menstrual cycle. And we got done with the movie, and she's like, they're taking my eggs. And I was like, I'm saying that's because one of the people on there had talked about how she had always like unexplainably been irregular, and then had these cysts. My wife has the same cysts, dude, and so we're just like, they're taking our eggs.
Wow, and they're not even paying you. That's bullshit.
That is true. You're not getting paid.
I don't care if I'm getting paid. Like, dude, currency is probably like nothing to them as it really is here, but it's just an illusion. But dude, at least let me know. I want to know how many space babies I got.
Right?
I think it would be pretty cool to know. But
let's talk about the story of the blonde-headed lady. I can't remember her name. The one you were just talking about.
Yeah, she was really weird looking. Like, I don't know. There's something unsettling.
Her story was that I believe she said she was at a party, and for some reason, the aliens or whatever got her from the party, brought her on board the craft. Now, the person who she ended up having sex with, she said he appeared human. When she was having sex with him, he appeared human, but later...
It was like a digital glitch in the face.
Image or something over a reptilian face.
Oh!
But they were having sex in front of a group of observers. There were like hybrids and other like beings, and they were watching them have sex. But she said it was so emotionless and cold behind it. And she said the beings who were there watching kind of looked like they didn't want to be there, but they didn't have a choice because they were there to study and learn. And maybe they were trying to teach the hybrids about coming down here to have sex, especially if if they're living among us or walking among us, they need to know how to act like humans. So I guess showing them how to have sex.
It almost made me wonder, because in that story, she had explained that it was the reptilian that was basically raping her. But how she would see like some reptilians and some humanoid ones. Yeah. I'm almost wondering, like, I mean, I know this is a little crazy, that the reptilians have already taken over the Nordic species. And now they're teaching them their ways. They're making them do their thing so that they can take over this planet. And I think the reptilians are the ones that are trying like interplanetary dominance. Reptilians are the America of space.
Some people think it's the praying mantis ones that are in charge.
But see, how many of those have people seen though? There's like so minimal stories of them. I don't think they have any interest in us.
Well, then think of it like this. The mantis ones are in charge, but the reptilian ones are subservient. So they do all of the work for the mantis ones. I mean, if you think of it like that, like king type deal, and then the soldiers, and then
so
like
I get that point, but and it's not to say it's the same across all the planets, but like let's just say nature is like all one huge scope to some degree. Reptiles eat bugs.
That's true. I mean,
It could be a species bred purely for food at this point.
That's true.
But why would they make them intelligent, or do we not know that?
I mean, I honestly don't know. Like, I'm sure there's like somebody out there who like maybe one of the like praying mantis like species like pro, and he's like, nope. Got it all wrong, dude.
Probably.
I'm no professional. This is just purely like my outlook and my ideology of it. Like what's going on.
The thing, because that's the thing that I like to say about this show is there's a disclaimer in the title. You know what I mean? Like, we know stuff. We don't know everything. We're not claiming to know everything. We're claiming to know what we know and
mindless banter.
Get it going. And however much of it is correct is awesome. And we do say a lot of things that are correct, like the stories that Sonja's been telling are documented stories. And it's exciting and interesting to talk about. But nobody's going to be able to say, like, you are wrong because of this and this and this. And we could say, we don't give a shit. I don't care.
Yeah,
you know, we just, this is our show, and we say what we want. We say what is good and what's fun and what seems to be correct in our minds, but our minds are mindless. So there you go. So the way I see it is when you are on the show with us, you're a part-time mindless as well.
Yeah, like you can come on the show and be mindless. You can leave the show and be a total smart, actual functioning human being. We're not saying you're like mindless, Sonja. We love you, so it's okay.
There's one other story I wanted to mention. It was about President Eisenhower. So
I already know what's coming up. I'm excited.
I want to hear it.
So the story is President Eisenhower went missing for like a day or so back when he was a president. I can't remember the exact year. And supposedly he met with two types of alien beings. I think it was Muroc Air Force Base. And I believe it was the Nordic ones who told him that they want us to get rid of our nuclear bombs and weapons and stuff. And if they do that, they would make a deal with us and work with us, but we refused to get our technology. So I believe the Greys came next. He met with them. He made a deal with them that they would let them experiment on some of our people, like take a certain amount of people, experiment with them and bring them back, and they would give us technology in exchange. So supposedly he brokered this treaty and they made a deal, but the Greys or whatever didn't keep their end of the deal. They started taking more people than they were supposed to. And then it just got a hand from there. So you have to think, maybe that's where the military get a lot of their they have crafts in their possession. That's where they got them from if they made a deal.
It's
then
possible.
You have to think that maybe that's why they haven't come out to confirm that UFOs exist, because they made this deal. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Maybe.
Do you know of the one piece of, I guess, space debris? Or no, it wasn't even space debris, because it was something that like they had collected from one of the aircrafts that they have on base, that they said this was basically the power source for the aircraft, and it basically almost looked like a plain piece of plexiglass. Do you know of that component?
I don't know that one.
So I can't remember, because it was on one of the I've been watching so many documentaries lately, I lose track of which ones or what or what information was put on what ones, because I've seen a lot of similarities between the few, which is also pretty weird.
Well, the fact that you're seeing a lot of similarities means that, there's a lot of things that all of these teams are finding that kind of go together.
That, but at the same time, somebody who's a non-believer could be like, oh, well, that's because that's the only thing you can make up. Yeah, whatever. I mean, like,
you can make up you can make up some crazy shit if you really wanted to. Plain
and simple. I mean, it's cool. Like, if you choose not to believe, that's fine. That is totally on you. I, however, choose to believe because I feel like honestly, like, guys, come on. If human,
well, it's getting
the worst species.
Well, it's getting to a point where it's gonna be really hard to not believe in the next. Now, really, when you think about it, all the science
for the
that
last
comes
years.
How can you not?
The Pentagon.
The three videos that the Navy released, and the Pentagon saying they were studying UFOs for I think it was a black budget project of $22 million. Then you had the New York Times that came out. Then it's so much. So there's something to it. And all these people who say they've been abducted and seen things, they're not all lying. They can't all be lying.
Well, and a lot of them are seeing similar things too. And this is back in the mid-90s when there wasn't internet, there wasn't these massive forums where people could all plan on having the same encounter. These are all genuine, this is pre-internet. So they're saying very similar things all around the country.
Yeah, but one thing I would like to point out, there's two countries that are the most visited from extraterrestrials.
Is that Mexico?
No, one's United States. Nick, you get a guess. What do you think?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot, bro. I'm gonna say Russia because they're the largest.
Wrong. So United States and China are the two most visited countries by extraterrestrials. And you know why?
China was going to be one. I knew Brazil had a lot of sightings.
They do, but China has like they're up there with us. Like we have like thousands and thousands, whereas all the other countries have like a few hundred. We have thousands. China has thousands, and it's because we are the two most volatile fucking countries on this planet.
That actually does make sense.
Yeah.
And they don't want us to be fighting. Plain and simple. They don't want us to be fighting. We're supposed to be a species, and quite honestly, like, and going back to earlier, like how you said with the Egyptians, I have no doubt in my mind there's a sequence of numbers. I can't remember it. That's really bad. I can't remember off the top of my head.
22, 22.
It's something weird where like it's the pyramids, or like the certain measurements of the pyramids. It's the certain measurements of like the distance from here to the moon, and the 3 points of the Earth. Like all these crazy things. All the numbers match up, and like it's a pattern. And granted, most military tactics are based on patterns. It's a very strong tactic, but also just the fact that, I mean, it's just a little bit too much of a coincidence with the Egyptians putting hieroglyphics of beings that the everyday person has not seen.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say most anymore, but a lot of people still don't believe in it, and that's fine. That's totally up to them. It is what it is. Quite honestly, in this day and age, if you have the more ignorance you have, probably the more happier you are.
That's true.
But
wait, I'm happy. Oh, dang it.
I really feel like they're here to help us out. They're wanting us to be better people, be a better species. And
depending on the race, though, because if the reptilian ones are, you know what I mean? It's like there's...
I think they're all working together, in my opinion.
Would you think that like the Greys and reptilians maybe are
I think
crossbreeding with us to try and like... Well, okay, so here's one thing that strikes me as really interesting on the seeding is they had talked about how it seemed very odd that they, so small, never seem to try and harm us, but they're doing all these different experiments where they're like pretty rough with the so-called patients.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're always... Because in the documentary, they talk about how they would look in their eyes. They never spoke, but they were telepathically speaking to them, showing them images. And I mean, they would say they had the most calming voices and saying, "We're not here to hurt you," this, that, and the other. Like, I believe that. I'd wholeheartedly believe that.
Well, with so many different accounts, like I said, in the 1900s, all saying the same thing, more or less, it's easy to believe because it seems logical, to be honest, despite how far-fetched it sounds for a lot of people, especially if you are back in the 1950s and 60s and somebody's saying all of this to you. But now with our growing technology, our more advanced society, being able to look out into the stars more and see things that they could see in the 50s and 60s, and who knows what the government knows, like we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's more believable now than ever, And
I will say one thing. I don't think the government actually knows what some people in the world know, because I think a lot of the things are beyond government's reach. Government is a temporary body.
Sure.
So, and I mean, it's been documented or said that these covert operations straight up will tell the presidents, you're a temporary body. You have no need to know.
There's no way they're going to let the president in on anything like that. There's someone higher pulling the strings on that. People think, oh, the president knows. We're going to wait for him to disclose any. The president doesn't know anything.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the government really knows.
Well, and that is because the president's really, becomes one of the most powerful people on the world for a short amount of time. And then...
Well, so that's one thing I always question, too, is what is their actual power? Because I feel it's very, very limited, and it's more so an illusion. Like, they're just
a mouthpiece, a figurehead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're a bobblehead to sit there and say, yeah, this is what we're doing.
I do think, though, back in the past when JFK was president and Eisenhower was president, I think they did know, but I think a lot of people think JFK was assassinated because of what he knew, that he was going to come out and disclose information. They think the CIA may have taken it out because of that. And I think at that point, that's when they stopped telling the president anything or letting him in on anything.
And that
makes sense.
That's a very true statement, because that is exactly why Marilyn Monroe was taken out. She had a hired hit on her from the government because she wanted to talk about alien beings and things like that she had heard while having an affair
with JFK.
Yeah. And the deep state figured this out, and
no more.
Well, they take matters into their own hands. I mean, dude, you saw the dude's head just like...
Oh my God. When I went to Dallas, I actually drove down to that area, because down in Dallas, they have little white X's on the spot. There's 2 X's in the roadway where he was assassinated, where the first bullet hit and then the second bullet hit. You can't get into the street because it's a busy freeway, but they have X's in that area where he was assassinated.
Isn't that a weird thing that we landmark exactly where a leader of our country died? Like, does that not strike you as odd?
The way I see it is it's like a never forget type situation.
Yeah, that's a reminder. That's some gang related shit where they leave their calling card, check it out. This is you'll become another X on the road if you fuck up.
The fact that there's X's on the road is a little morbid to me. I mean, a plaque near a sidewalk or something, on a bench, in this spot is where, president, that would be more appropriate, I feel, than X's on the street.
They do. They have a plaque. They have a big plaque downtown in Dallas, but they also have the actual X's on the spot in the road.
I'm sure they got plenty of things to make sure that you're reminded, don't fuck up.
Yeah, don't talk about it. Yeah. Well, but it is going to be getting to a point quite soon where they're going to have to explain more and more, little by little, just like they're doing.
I don't know. They've been keeping this secret for 70 years. It started with the Roswell Crash in 1947. I don't know if you followed that, but when the crash originally happened, I believe it was July the 4th, and that rancher Mac Brazel came out on his farm. He saw this debris strewn everywhere. He said it looked like metal or something, tinfoil. So he went to the sheriff's station. They brought somebody back out there. Then they contacted the Air Force, and they contacted the news. And then the news came out there. The Air Force came out there, and they found this disc or whatever. And then the original word was in the newspaper that they had captured a flying saucer. But then a couple of hours later, I think a day later, they retracted her story and said it was a weather balloon.
Yeah. They made the guy pose with the weather balloon, and they all knew, out of everything, all the accounts that they had made and said, there's no way a weather balloon can do any of that. You can't mistake that. You have a captain of the military. You don't know the difference between a weather balloon and an alien aircraft. Come on, you can't mistake that. And if you're saying that you're superior, really high-ranking person up there, mistakes something like that with the weather balloon, he shouldn't be that fucking person. He shouldn't have that right.
And then the other issue was that the rancher who found the debris, they hauled him off to the Air Force Base. They kept him detained there for a week. If it was just a weather balloon, why would you need to keep somebody detained for a week? He completely changed his story after that week.
Yeah. They were brainwashing him.
If I'm not mistaken, actually, that whole that whole story is covered in the Phenomenon.
Yeah, it is. I
Documentary.
also have that book, The Day After Roswell, by Colonel Corso. He talks about that too, but he also talks about how a lot of our technology was from that crash, like fiber optics and the microchip and night vision. Oh, what was the other?
I heard
Wow.
Velcro.
The laser,
Velcro
I
was
think.
like a big one. Like it was an alien technology
No
for us.
way.
Yeah, so apparently Velcro is an alien technology that came from the UFOs. How? I don't know. Seems kind of weird.
On their ship, they had Velcro and like calendars, like a calendar, and like they were like, "Whoa!" this is
Yeah, they
crazy."
took it off. They're like, "Hey, look, it peels off and it sticks
That's
back." Wow, this is
no
amazing,
way.
guys.
Well, what about the calendar? It's like aliens posing. Yeah.
Hey, man, I would buy one in a heartbeat.
Oh, I would too. I like everybody would.
And
Yeah.
then the other story was that they took the craft and the bodies, because some people say it was 3 bodies, other people say it was 4 bodies, but they said that one of the beings were still alive, and they flew the wreckage to Wright-Patterson Air Force in Ohio along with the bodies, and they put the craft in Hangar 18, and the aliens went to some kind of, they call it the Blue Room, but it's supposedly at Wright-Patterson, and they keep them in like this blue liquid in these containers like deep underground. I mean,
Yeah.
Wow.
So there was one of the stories where a guy had talked about, and this was in the seating one, where he had talked about he had kind of woke up and seen himself in this liquid with these super long fingers.
Yeah, it was like his consciousness or something. Like his consciousness was pulled from his body.
And he remembered.
Yeah, and this other alien body.
Yeah, he remembered seeing all the aliens, like noticing he kind of like woke up and they were scattering around like, oh shit, and then he doesn't remember anything else, but he remembers waking up in this liquid. And like he was in control of these like extremely long fingers. He was just like, what the fuck? So, I mean, to me, that's pretty crazy in itself.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's definitely a lot more to it, because if you think about it, it's super, super possible that our government or some extent of our government is working with extraterrestrial beings. And I mean, I do have to say, like, it sounds good, but to an extent, like, if this is the best we got working with extraterrestrial beings, fuck.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Yeah, because like the fact that my mind can process something so much better than what's going on right now, and that it's not here, and we got beings that are like seeing in different fucking dimensions, like 8 dimensions. Yeah, I don't care. We can't find the 4th one, but they're in the 8th, and we're still here. Fuck it.
Yeah.
All dimensions suck. But Zoom is giving us another warning yet again.
Why is your battery like it's about to die or it's dead?
It is about to die. So we are going to take one last quick break.
Another short break.
Yeah, it's okay. The first one, I'm just going to leave it alone. It's going to right back to where we started. But this one will be our actual break. So we will be right back, and don't go anywhere, folks.
All right.
Hi. All right, we are back. We're back from our break. I hope you enjoyed it. We are going to start to ask some questions in the realm of aliens and whatnot, and I'm going to start it off with one that I think is hilarious, especially because it has to do with a little bit of what we were talking about earlier, but I'm going to put Sonia on the spot here. Sonia, would you bang an alien?
I'm not against it. I mean, I don't see why not. If we're compatible. I mean,
tell me about yourself. They look into your eyes and talk without talking, and you're hearing their calm voice. It might be seductive.
I mean,
I would definitely be seduced.
I mean, why not?
But like, what if it like like pulled off its like little space suit and like all of a sudden like
I think that would be pretty amazing.
A giant snake dick.
like it's doing a whole dance for you like a snake charmer.
And what if it like glowed in the dark or something? I don't know, like bioluminescence or whatever. That would be really cool.
That's a lightsaber.
This is like, it's like a show and we get to do it. This is amazing.
I mean, so like obviously my subconscious is totally down to eat out some alien pussy. So like I would do anything to an alien, hands down, myself. What about you?
Well, not only that, but I have to think of it like from your dream, what you did, going down on it, and then feeling what you felt. Imagine if you actually banged one. What would that feel like?
It would probably be like acid times 10, like.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe you like temporarily die.
Whoa. So I like how that's like, what's the best pleasure you've been? Death.
Well, because I mean, like, think about it. Something that, like, when people get so excited or so worked up,
yeah, that's true.
If something is like so amazing, like sexually, maybe you just temporarily die,
or
wake up like
an alternate dimension or something.
Yeah,
who knows?
Yo, being fucked to another dimension? Whoa, that's some shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Count me in.
That would become like the next. Imagine like that becoming like the next drug. Fucking an alien. Like people are like wanting to so bad because.
I'm all for it.
Or it could be even worse because what if it actually killed you forever, permanently? So it's
I'm
like
all for it.
This.
As long as the ending is great, just do it.
But then it's like, how did Josh die? He fucked an alien, dude. What? Yep, it killed him. It took him.
That's a lot better than like any
pretty
other
much anyone
dumbass
else's
way I would go out.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I mean, so what would you like really feel though? So, like, how would you genuinely feel? Like, at least how would you think you would genuinely feel being face to face with any species of alien, reptilian or not?
I think I would be excited. I'm pretty sure I would be excited, no doubt about that, just to be actually seeing a live alien, not just talking about it or hearing it from somebody else.
Right.
I don't know. It'd be so many emotions behind it.
I feel like I would, not on purpose, but shit myself.
I mean, it's understandable. It's kind of one of those things. I mean, like, now when I hypothetically ask that, I'm just assuming that they're just standing there, completely harmless, you know. But I mean,
right outside of the Taco Bell I just ate at, and I'm like, no, I don't want to meet you now.
But I mean, I'm sure there would just be a whole flurry of emotions that, like, I wouldn't really know what to do other than just be like,
yeah, it's like, hey, guys, you'd be starstruck.
Yeah. Planetarily struck.
Yeah, I can't. It's one of those things where you want to say, like, I would be excited, and I know Sonja would be excited because this has been like, you've looked into all of this and you've researched all this stuff because it's exciting. So Josh, you as well. So y'all, when you say you'd be excited, I'd be like, yeah, y'all would be straight up. You would actually be able to compose yourself better than most people because you've familiarized yourself with it more than most people have. So it's not like it's something that it would be mind blowing. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like it would be like. It would be mind blowing, but not to the point to where you couldn't talk. You know, you'd actually be able to be like, okay, I know this is real. Man. I mean,
I can barely talk to, like, when I was like a single guy looking for a lady, dude, I would like almost never talk to a girl.
Okay, Josh, you're not actually trying to bang the aliens. That was just a question.
No, I would be trying to bang an alien.
Okay, you'd be actively trying. Okay,
I would
good to know.
actively be
Good
trying to
know.
bang an alien. So
Okay, good to know.
if like one, like regardless of how much I could think that I know of them or believe in their existence, until that moment that I physically see them, like it's still
You really can't. Yeah, you can't connect or comprehend.
yeah, it's still just an idea. My brain's not going to be able to understand. Like I may think I can understand, but biologically my brain is not going to fucking connect those neurons together for a real good minute.
Right. Yeah.
So,
it's like with people who've been abducted and whatever. I can believe what they're saying, but I can't really completely understand them or understand what they've been through, even though I technically believe them. I'll never be able to completely
I'll never doubt what any of them say or their testimonies to their experiences. I would never doubt that. That's not for me to doubt. But
right.
I mean, man, some of them are crazy, for sure. And I mean, like some of the ones that we talked about today.
Hey, it was wearing suspenders. Like, what?
That would probably make me a little more comfortable if I saw an alien in suspenders. I'd be like, "What's up?"
It's got like a hay straw from its mouth and like a farmer hat. Hey, Nate. What kind of alien are you?
Hands down, though, you will 100% always be able to trust an alien with a bow tie.
I believe it. Oh, I love it. So, what about going to space with an alien?
Oh yeah, I most definitely would.
That would be really hard to resist, but at the same time, I would be like, okay, you can do this, but here's some ground rules. I have to come back eventually, and I gotta like make sure my wife knows. Like, hey, babe, I'm just letting you know, like I'm going to space.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. I just care about becoming like total fucking mush on their walls when they take off.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they would prep for that. I mean,
if they can prep for that, if they can knock my ass out, preferably, because I'd rather not even like know that I'm traveling that fast. I'd be scared. I don't like roller coasters.
I doubt if you would feel it if they're that advanced.
If that's the case, I'm on board. Kudos.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I don't even like roller coasters, man. Like the idea of them even like hovering 50 feet off the ground would just scare me a lot.
You know what would be insane is if, all of our dreams came true and we all banged an alien. And then all of a sudden we had an alien baby that's a hybrid.
Yes.
And we like had it. How crazy would your life be now? Like because you wouldn't know.
I'd be all for it, dude. I stay in my house like all the time. I would be more than happy to take care of an alien baby because at least that's something super interesting.
Right? You're like, its vomit is like hot pink. Honey, look at this.
Yeah, because everything, like, I mean, you got to think, we're used to seeing like a baby develop. We would have zero fucking clue how this is going to develop. So like,
especially if it's like completely like telepathic and it doesn't talk or whatever.
That'd be crazy. Like you'd be sleeping, you start dreaming, I need to get the baby a bottle. Wake up. The baby's just waiting there. It's been 5 minutes. I've been telepathically sending you this bottle message. Like, what the fuck, or like, asshole?
Or like you're sitting there and you're like playing blocks with it and it looks up at you and it doesn't say anything. You just hear, and you're like telepathically like baby talking to me.
Yeah.
Or that would be so weird.
Or like as an infant, could you imagine as an infant, it's like 1,000 years beyond your lifetime and it's just like, well, I changed the diaper of somebody who is like light years ahead of me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be pretty honored.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Better than my kids.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
their crap probably like, smells like awful. Like, who knows? An alien's poop probably smells orgasmic. It probably like instantly sends you like endorphins or some shit through the brain or like.
Yeah.
If they even, you have to even wonder, do they even eat? Because you think of the graves, all they have is like that little slit for a mouth. Most of the people who've done said they've never seen them either even breathe, or they don't see their chest go in and out. And it doesn't look like they have any teeth. So maybe they absorb like energy like plants absorb the sun, or maybe it's like a liquid-based diet. I don't know.
Well, that's actually interesting because we just did our episode about animals. We just recorded it. We haven't released it yet. But we talked about different animals, and I know that frogs can like breathe through their skin.
Yeah.
Like frogs have a lot of really weird ass abilities. Really weird. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities for some type of extraterrestrial to be able to like absorb nutrients like food or breathe all through their skin and not needing to do what we do as humans.
But regardless,
I feel bad for them.
Regardless, we're still only thinking in the realm of what we know is possible. We're not.
Good point.
That's a
good point.
Whatever they could be, whatever they're capable of, whatever their regular nature is, probably beyond anything we can comprehend or even begin to imagine to a certain degree. I mean, we see some of these animals and we hear of some of these animals that like aren't necessarily the most popular of animals that are talked about. So like essentially the tardigrades or the water bears.
Yeah.
One of the most like obscenely crazy organisms on our known earth.
On this, yeah, hell yeah.
And I mean, that seems crazy cool. But these guys, they who knows, these aliens, these species, they probably shit on anything like that. They're probably like, yeah, my toe does that. Watch what my butthole can do. It can produce a fucking planet.
Yeah.
You never know. And so one thing though that I would like to bring up is, so during the seeding documentary, they talk about how there's this moment that they extract energy from the embryo. And you got to think, us as human beings, we are energy. And you think, because what we're taught, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It's something that's already there. So it kind of makes you wonder, okay, so I was already we were all already something. Everything was already something.
Yeah, based on physics,
some type of idea. So, and I know this is like just like really fucking out there, but just hear me out. What if energy itself, the core of energy, gained its own consciousness?
You said it right.
No, I know I did. I was waiting.
Okay.
I was waiting for like maybe your guys.
It looks like you were like, did I say that correctly?
Yeah. No. No, I wanted to see if you guys had any input on that, but I guess not. If energy itself had its own consciousness, and it's something that can't be created nor destroyed, would we all be one?
We're essentially yes.
And in a way, we would be an idea of the energy.
Yeah, we would be fragments of a energy whole, if you will, like pieces of it that are somehow created. Well, not created, but moved from one realm to another. The realm of the non-living quotes to the living realm.
And I know it sounds
energy.
Crazy.
Well, it does sound crazy, but when you think of it, though, when energy can't be created nor destroyed, it's something that's always there, predating our lives as what we are as energy, predating us being born. Like you said, we had to be a form of something, right? So
I mean, we could be stardust. We could be bits of stars for all we know.
yeah, well, technically, scientifically, everything kind of is stardust because the way stars are created and destroyed, and the whole cycle of how carbon is, all that mindless shit that I don't quite understand 100%. But
I believe I had said it in a past episode, like, or maybe I had just said it to you in a random conversation. We are just star bit, or like I feel like we are just star bits. Like once we die, like I say, like once you die, you're just worm feed. But like essentially, you are some form of another energy for something else. I mean, whether it be like, I don't know, some fucking gas that floats up into the atmosphere and becomes a part of another thing later on in life. I don't know. It's weird, but and I can't explain like the idea of like I guess I can't logically in our minds explain, well, if that's the case, then like why do we have like little stupid things that we just find interesting to us, like my fake shark. Well, it's not a fake shark, it's a real shark. But like my shark, or like, stuffed animals, or like phones, or devices to hold your phone, or remotes. Why do we have any of it? Why does it, like, what does it mean if we are just energy essentially? Why is any of this an idea? So I mean, essentially I'm kind of contradicting myself, but
then everybody has
it's just one of those things that, like, dude, it's a vicious circle. I don't believe it's something that will ever be explained in anybody's lifetime, because it's something that we can't.
It's too deep.
I mean, you always hear people who talk about like near-death experiences and all that kind of stuff, and like and it seems to be different for everybody. Some people say they see a light, other people say there's nothing, and then I mean, I guess you just really don't know.
But to that, I say that's based on your brain. That's based on your subconscious. Like, there's a lot of people that claim, like, oh, but he's just a kid. He wouldn't have known. Are you religious? Yeah. Okay, so he probably heard you say Jesus. May not have registered that he, like, actually heard you or, like, paid any attention to it, but he heard it.
But that's when the subconscious comes into play, whenever you're
we
in that
as
realm.
Beings in our main consciousness have no idea what's going on in our subconscious unless we're like sleeping or like really, really fucking in tune with ourselves. And so how are you going to know otherwise? Like the regular person more than likely is not going to know. And it's
one of the ladies I used to work with, she told me that she ended up took some, I think she was like 16 or 17, and she was living in Mexico, and her family was going to come to the United States, and they didn't want to come. So she took a bunch of pills to kill herself. And then she said she remembered being outside of her body, looking at herself right there. And she said it was the weirdest thing. She was like in a corner, but her body was there. The next thing you know, she was pulled back. Next thing you know, she was pulled back into her body. She never said she went anywhere. She just said that she just saw her body laying there.
And see, I've heard a lot about the outer body things, and those are a little crazy to me. But then again, I've also like gotten pretty high enough to know, like, I was looking at myself in a different perspective, which is kind of weird. But it's also one of those things that, like, you're not really sure, because myself, I've played enough video games to think to myself, okay, maybe I was able to, like, throw my third eye behind me as, like, a third person perspective, and maybe that's where it came from, or some stupid shit. I try to make sense of it because, like, and that's one of the things. In psychology, like, our minds, if there's something that's completely unexplainable, we will sometimes almost believe the most craziest of fucking things. If it makes sense to us, if we can make it a connection in our brain,
like, got it. Yeah,
like, okay, I can understand this, I like this, it sounds good. People do that, and it's kind of weird. But I also want to say hello to Sonja's random guest that came by and, like, poked her.
Uh,
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? How come you
Hi.
didn't want to be
I'm
seen?
good. I'm just interrupting, being nosy.
Oh, but you're about to be famous. Come on the camera so you can
That's
be on the
not-
Mindless Morning Show.
I'm like not even dressed. That's okay.
She's not dressed.
It's okay. This is explicit. We don't mind.
My mom is here, so I'm good.
All right. So never mind. Go
All
away.
Fair enough.
But I mean, back to the idea of the fact that, like, I mean, our subconscious, we only know so much of what we actually see, and it's one of the things that, like, I heard somebody say that they told me. There's one thing that really stuck to me is believe nothing you hear and only half. Or, I'm sorry, believe nothing you see and only half of what you hear. Or no, fuck, I said that
Damn
wrong.
it, Josh.
I know. Believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. Because, I mean, what do we know that we see? We only know what we're told.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
I think of it like this. We have people that are knowingly colorblind. We can sit there and tell a colorblind person the sky is purple. They might believe it. They wouldn't know any different.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
And it's one of those things that your brain, regardless, is going to create that connection. Your brain has no fucking clue right from wrong. We don't know right from wrong because we just don't know. We humanly deem what is right or wrong. That is why most religions have changed their tabulatures to fit what is humanly not looked down upon, what is socially acceptable, things like that. We've constantly changed it.
Right.
Who the fuck are these people to say that that's right or wrong from nature? We don't fucking know.
I want to murder.
Because now you have like the Pope coming out saying, "Oh yeah, it's possible that alien life exists out there in the universe. Why wouldn't they do? If God can create, they can create. If God can create us, He can create anything." So
Fuck the Pope.
Yeah.
That dude's sitting in the satanic lounge himself. You seen that fucking auditorium? It's a serpent's head, dude. The fucking serpent's head. And what's coming out of Jesus' face? That sculpture was specifically made. They didn't fuck it up. It looks like a fucking serpent coming out of its face. Because
and they have like a secret library in the Vatican that no one's allowed to go into. You have to wonder, what do they have down there that's so secret?
Yeah.
Nobody can lay their eyes upon it.
the book that the devil wrote himself.
That's awesome.
Who knows? I mean, it could really be anything because there's our human minds are so limited based on what we are controlled to know. I mean, honestly, like we can sit here and think that we have the idea of free will or free thinking or free speech, but we don't have that because we don't know what's possible. We're told like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And for years, I mean, in the documentaries, they even talk about it. The government themselves will like completely diminish any and all like type of proof because they made a mockery out of it. The one real famous one, I forgot who it was that came out and started speaking, but like they had like this like blow up inflatable alien.
That was the Phoenix Lights case. That was Governor Fife Simonton. Yeah, he changed his story a couple of years later. He said he actually did see something.
Yeah,
he completely changed his story after.
Wow.
And it's crazy because there's so much out there of so many like, and I mean, these aren't just like random people like me or you, like just a bunch of random workers. These are high ranking fucking officials.
Yep.
That are coming out and saying some of the shit we saw is completely unexplainable.
Yeah, exactly.
So wouldn't you think as a high ranking official, you, like, especially in like security and defense and things like that, don't you think you would fucking know?
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Bob Lazar. I think think Josh, you watched that podcast with Joe Rogan, and he had Jeremy Corbell on there and Bob Lazar, who worked at Area 51.
That was a good one.
S4, and he worked at S4, which is like an extension of Area 51. It's 15 miles from Area 51, but it's on the property. And he worked there between 88 and 89, 6 months on and 6 months off. And he said he before that he worked at Los Alamos, and he got a job at S4 through Edward Teller, the father of the hydrogen bomb or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so they bring him out there on this bus. He comes in, like the windows are all blacked out. They bring him to this hangar that's built into the side of a mountain. And there's like 9 hangar spots. And he say one day he went there, the hangars were all open. And inside these hangars, there were 9 crabs. They were none of them were identical. One looked like
wow.
One, the rest of them were completely intact. He said one looked like a Delamo, one looked like a sombrero, and then the one he worked on was called a sports model. He said he doesn't know how they got the crabs, because he said everything is so compartmentalized. He was brought in to work on the reactor of the crab, but like you couldn't ask questions. There was no asking questions of where the crab came from and how he got. He just
strictly figuring out how it works.
Good Lord.
Figure out how it works.
And to me, that is something so fucking insane. And I mean, the dude has no reason to lie. He's not asking for money for any of his information. He's not asking for any of this. He doesn't care if you believe him or not. He's simply just telling you what he's experienced. Take it or leave it. It is what it is. And to me, like, I respect that. I respect that giving that kind of information out, because I mean, dude, there's no telling. There's no telling what they're going to do with whatever kind of information you happen to give out, because I mean, there's a lot. Have you ever heard of the Skinny Bob videos?
Oh, I've seen that. That on like YouTube. Yeah.
So those are deemed real, completely real. And if that's the case, man, that's fucking scary, because like we're straight up having meetings with these other species out of our planet. And I mean, like, I feel like as I won't even say Americans, because it's obviously not just America, but as humans, we're being treated like fucking imbeciles because we're not given the ability to know this kind of knowledge. And to me, that's very dangerous. Like, because I see no harm in them being here or wanting to interact with us. First off, these are like 3 to 4 foot fucking beings most of the time, the grays. So they're pretty small. And as a human, we would look at them and be like, oh, I could take it. Like, you know, they're scrawny. And so to me, it's just kind of one of those things of, are they here because they're really desperate? They need to work with us. They need something on our planet, maybe, that a resource that, I mean, we have no idea. Could be something super rare that out in the galaxy, or it could be something that, like, you know, like the precious resource. Or are they a dying species, and they think it's best to hibernate with another species to carry on in a evolved manner, which I wouldn't be at all surprised if Egyptians were a lot different than what history tells us, and that the aliens helped evolve the Egyptians to be the humankind that we are now, and we're really just like some shitty fucking retards. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Devolved.
Yeah, we definitely devolved. I don't know, man. It's the reptilians. They fucked us up.
Yes.
I mean, I guess they hear and just sound crazy. I should have fucking recorded this with the tin foil on my head.
Yeah, dude.
Damn! Missed out on a real good opportunity.
Yeah, you really did, man.
I think the Greys are just workers. I think they're just sitting here to gather people and bring them back on the ships, and then the higher up beings or whatever that control the Greys, They're the ones who do the experiments and the procedures on us.
I don't know, but people would disagree and say we're the experiments or whatever, that we're the slaves. We're the ones that were here for gold, because why were the Egyptians so fascinated with gold? And naturally, everybody's fascinated with gold.
Yeah.
That's true.
Why? Is it a natural resource, a precious resource to another
Something.
species? It like
Maybe
It's-
so.
it's kind of one of those things that make you wonder. I mean, there's so many possibilities, man. You just never fucking know.
You guys don't realize this, but you could ask Google all of these questions.
Oh man, why not that?
Oh, that's great. So
We need
This has been
somebody.
really
on the
fun.
we need somebody on the inside who actually works in the intelligence community who can give us information. More.
But they
Right?
won't. I mean,
Yeah.
the documents had those people. The documentaries
I know,
had
but
those
we
people.
need someone personally on our side who will come on here.
Yeah. I mean, they got to be ready to die, though.
Yeah,
You
that's what I was gonna
know
say.
somebody.
I wish I did. I mean, dude, if
Me
I,
too.
I think your white privilege can get you in all kinds of doors.
We're gonna put that to the test. I'm gonna just walk into a military base and I'm just gonna just say I own this bitch and just see how
Yeah.
far I get.
yeah, I'm going to send an email out tomorrow to the Secretary of Defense. My white privilege says I should have access to alien technology. I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh, I would love that. That would be the best email ever.
I shit you not, though. Like, if they fucking send me something, I'd be like, whoa. I need to be sending more emails.
Yeah. And the subject line of the email would say "my white privilege." ... And then they click on it, and then you demand something, in the body of the in the email, and then you get it every time.
Oh my god, dude! I mean, I'm all for it. If it works, I'll use it to my advantage, because you know what? Aliens for the people, man. I'm trying.
That's right. That'll be great.
But I mean, overall, I believe. I know Sonja believes. Nick, do you believe?
No.
Okay.
No, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've said this for as long as I can remember. When I knew from forever ago that, yeah, there are other planets out there that orbit their own suns, and the stars all. So the odds of there being something is astronomically high. And the fact that there's already so many of these encounters, there's already so many of these sightings, there's already so many things that cannot be explained. Of course. And for me, it's like, it's not necessarily, to me, a belief, it's a certainty. Because whenever they released the footage, people were like, whoa, and I was like, yeah, I mean,
Dude,
I'm
I don't
not
feel
surprised.
like that footage got nearly enough attention as it should have.
Oh,
Like,
it definitely did. It really got no attention. You would think more people would have been, way
my
more people
God.
should have been talking about that
Yeah.
footage.
I expected the
maybe-
world to go out and buy all the fucking toilet paper again.
But maybe
They didn't do that.
Yeah, but maybe this is a good thing, because maybe it means that people were like, yeah, I mean, I could see it, I believe it, I could understand it, and didn't
Maybe.
freak out.
Maybe
freak
there
out.
is a far more larger population that believes than I think believes, because honestly, I don't think many people do. Like, I was quite shocked to find out my father doesn't believe. He's like, I think we're the smartest species on, and I was like, what?
No way. Yeah.
I was like, that's a sad thought, man. But I'll let
You just proved that you're a dumbass.
yeah, I was just like, you know what? I'll believe it as is, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I can't argue. There's no arguing interplanetary fucking things, because I don't really. I can't sit here and be like, this is solid evidence
Yeah.
right here, straight up.
Yeah, well,
we got it. But like,
well, they have solid evidence now that's confirmed by the Pentagon that there is something that they cannot identify. So,
but
boom.
they could also be saying that, like, because I'm very logical when it comes to thinking. They still could be playing it off as aliens, just in a more appropriate manner, to really play off to the other countries. No, we don't have this like ridiculous technology that could wipe you off the face of the earth. We're the best. Blah blah blah. Like, you never know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The art of deception is a very, very fine art, to say the least.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That is true. Well, I think that is where we're going to have to end our show for the night.
Oh, let's go to like 5 o'clock in the morning. That's usually when I go to bed.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go to 5 o'clock in the morning.
This is what I'm gonna.
Nick, you're a party pooper.
This is what I'm gonna look like if we did that show.
But Nick, it's okay. We don't need you to look like anything else other than yourself, tired or alive. We just need you there.
Be like, all right, well, I have to sign off to go to work because I have to work. And I'll just switch over to my phone and I'll have you guys on my phone like while I'm working. Hey.
I will say though, this has gone extremely well. This has been extremely easy, and we definitely hope to have you back, Sonja, because
Thank you. I have to be back. I'm honored I was your first guest.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And you won't be our last. You'll definitely be back because there's so much out there to talk about.
I know
Oh my God.
We need to talk about Skinwalker Ranch next time.
Yes.
We will next time. Definitely.
Yes.
We've got to save some for next time.
Yeah.
And we also want to get the people a little more excited as to the fact that Sonja is a shot survivor. She got shot.
Oh yeah, I sure did.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. We'll definitely talk about that when we come back for sure.
So that's some crazy stuff. So
absolutely.
We hope you guys enjoyed this show, the very first episode of the Midnight series, and this won't be the last one. So
no, definitely not.
Yeah. Alien pussy. I mean, white privilege. We covered it all.
White privilege. Yeah.
So, Sonja, thank you again so much for coming on our show. It means a lot to us.
Fun.
And
absolutely.
I mean that's it. So
we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Hope you guys have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Now here's a message that we have retrieved from the NGC 598 Galaxy, also known as the Triangulum Galaxy. We are continually asked if we're here to harm you. I am here to tell you we are not here to do such things. We are here to protect Interplanetary Federation from your ridiculous species. For a species altered over 60 times by a greater species, you all sure make us look really bad. We don't forgive you. However, don't blame you, as you are being manipulated by another species. Therefore,